Legend has it that many years ago, there was a monkey king named Sun Wukong, who possessed limitless magical powers and incredible abilities. He angered the Jade Emperor by wreaking havoc in heaven, so the Emperor sent an army of 100,000 celestial soldiers to capture him. But none of the gods were a match for him. Even Neza fought him for hundreds of rounds and still ended up defeated. Erlang Shen, the strongest warrior among the gods, stepped up to the challenge. Wukong turned into a tiny fish to dodge the arrows, and Erlang Shen instantly transformed into a fish hawk to chase him. Wukong quickly shifted into a swift swallow, and flew straight toward Li Jing. Li Jing immediately ordered his troops to shoot, but those arrows couldn't even scratch Wukong. He suddenly transformed into a blazing meteor, and grabbed Li Jing in the blink of an eye. Then, he tossed him right off the heavenly court. The 100,000 celestial soldiers were completely helpless against him. The Jade Emperor had no choice but to summon the Buddha. With his overwhelming divine power, the Buddha sealed Wukong right under the Five Elements mountain. In the blink of an eye, 500 years passed, yet the legend of the Monkey King still lived on among the mortals. However, the human world was now overrun by demons. They attacked villages at will, and specifically hunted down newborn babies. The man fought desperately against the monsters to protect his wife and kids, but there were simply too many of them. Before long, he was brutally beaten to death by the overwhelming horde. To keep her child from He is the great sage equal to heaven, who could easily crush the black myth Wukong, but he has now been trapped under the Five Elements mountain by the Buddha for 500 years. Today, his powers are completely gone, and the hero has seen better days.
主来老二，俺为你困了500年，还不够。你别忘了，俺可是齐天大圣！齐天大圣！你看他那一头杂毛，还齐天大圣呢！
The great sage who once wreaked havoc in heaven, struck fear into the hearts of all the gods, but now he is completely surrounded by a bunch of low-level demons. To rescue the kidnapped children, he still stepped up fearlessly even without his powers. Wielding a simple bamboo stick and ignoring the painful backlash of the seal, he swung it again and again. After 500 years of suppression, all he had left was his raw, brute strength. Without the Rui Jin Gubang, he fought his way through a sea of blood using nothing but a bamboo pole, and this was exactly what the Demon King had expected. The reason he hadn't fought personally was because he still harbored some doubts, but after seeing with his own eyes that the great sage had truly lost his powers, the Demon King finally decided to show himself. How could Jianglier let anyone insult his idol? But in a flash, he was blasted away by the Demon King's magic. The Demon King then gathered his energy and aimed it right at the kid. In this critical moment, the great sage stepped up once again. He gripped the bamboo pole and brought it down with all his might. But how could mere physical strength ever beat magic?
Sun Wukong，你也有今天。
In the end, the Demon King flew up into the sky with the little girl. Before leaving, he blew the small boat to absolute pieces. After this devastating event, the great sage completely gave up, because he knew deep down that he was simply no match for the Demon King in his current state.
我们快去救傻丫头吧，大圣！
我管不了。
大圣，大圣！
我都说了，我管不了，我管不了那孩子。
可是现在只有你能救他。
Jianglier had no choice but to go rescue the little girl all by himself. He secretly followed the mountain demons all the way to the Demon King's lair, and even ran into his master, Faming, in there. As for the great sage, he could only rage helplessly at this point. He hated the Buddha for trapping him, he hated the seal for stripping away his powers, and he hated himself for failing to protect the little girl. But Jianglier's voice kept echoing in the monkey's mind, until the great sage toy appeared right before his eyes. He finally realized that even without his former glory, in Jianglier's heart, he would always be the omnipotent great sage equal to heaven. This made up the great sage's mind to go rescue Jianglier. Meanwhile, the Demon King was already in the middle of a sacrificial ritual. Once the ritual was completed, the souls of the 48 kidnapped children would be destroyed forever. Fortunately, Jianglier showed up just in time, and disrupted the Demon King's ritual. The Demon King wanted to stop it, but it was already too late. After all, once the ritual was interrupted, it could never be restarted. The Demon King assumed the great sage was behind this, so he decided to execute Jianglier on the spot. But right at this critical moment, a white dragon pierced through the clouds, and slammed the Demon King straight to the ground, and right behind it came the great sage, Sun Wukong. Why did this single shot shatter expectations, and crown this movie as the ultimate pioneer of China's commercial animation? When the Monkey King battled the Demon King, his powers were sealed, and he was simply no match for the enemy. But the most badass thing about the Monkey King is this: no matter how hard he gets knocked down, he always bounces back. Because right now, the monkey only had one thing on his mind: protecting Jianglier, and keeping those 48 kids safe from evil. After a brutal barrage of attacks, the Demon King was left completely exhausted, but the great sage was still standing strong. This slowly drove the Demon King absolutely insane. He gathered all his power for one ultimate, devastating strike. But out of nowhere, a falling copper pot crushed the Demon King straight into a bottomless abyss. Just when everyone thought the epic battle was finally over, a solar eclipse suddenly appeared. The Demon King made a terrifying comeback. In an instant, he transformed into a colossal, sky-blocking beast. He planned to swallow all the children whole, to absorb their energy and boost his own power. No matter what tricks the great sage used, he couldn't stop the monster, because the massive size difference alone completely crushed him. Just as everyone thought the great sage was doomed, Jianglier suddenly rushed out. He screamed at the top of his lungs to draw the monster's attention. Enraged, the Demon King relentlessly chased after the kid, and right at that moment, the great sage broke free from his restraints. He sprinted like a madman, praying to reach the kid before the monster's attack landed. But ultimately, he was just 1 second too late. Jianglier was completely buried under the shattered rocks, and the great sage was blasted away by the shockwave. When he finally came to his senses, all he could hear was people desperately screaming, and the ruins were left with nothing but his own great sage toy. The great sage gently placed the toy back into Jianglier's hand. Then, he slowly stood back up, ignoring the agonizing backlash of the seal to force his powers out. He took step after step forward, and the surrounding rocks slowly began to shatter. Even the massive boulders hurled by the Demon King melted into dust before they could even touch him. Molten lava formed his armor, and ash flames became his cape. Now this is the true great sage equal to heaven. He then slowly pulled out the 13,500-pound Rui Jingu Bang from behind his ear. With a casual flick of his wrist, the heavens and earth instantly shattered. The Chaos Demon King was nothing but a joke in front of the great sage. This was his true, unchained power. As the flower petals drifted down, the battle was finally over. The great sage equal to heaven had returned, but the kid who always bragged about his invincible hero would never get to see this glorious moment. But just then, a familiar voice quietly echoed.